Before I started, we're still listening to Tucker Carlson versus uh, Ben Shapiro on Ben Shapiro. No, what was I talking about? Ted Cruz on Hassan. Hassan watching it. This is the first time that I've managed to make the trading post useful by getting four dice for the aid key. That's a good choice. Whenever you enter this room, you will lose one random inventory item, but then I'll get two rare items in exchange. I don't like that deal right now because I'll have to pass through this room again to get out. So let's re-roll. There we go. This is good. It's going the right way. Wrong way. Sucked them off. Jesus.
And I mean this with sincerity. I'm sorry they did. In what way has Ukraine been a disaster for the United States? By the way, manufacturing Scott Rich and the U.S. weak and historic enemy while making Europe reliant on American energy has been a total win for the rulers. Yeah, I don't think that that's good because I care about all the dead children.
My God, this is not going well.
And the complete destruction of 40 million
Oh,
homes.
okay.
That wasn't really
Nothing that I want. Nothing.
before this war either.
And it wasn't even one shop.
Worse, and will probably
I think I probably have all the shops except for the bookstore, and the bookstore's probably not popping up because it's probably locked because it's like for some stupid reason.
Yeah, for the record, that chatter is not saying it was good for. No, neither do I. I mean, from the perspective of these freaks, yeah, you're
Damn it!
and who normally would justify.
All right, we'll throw the office in, I guess. At least it's connecting to there.
The Lindsey Graham position.
A supplemental bigger than $24 billion for Ukraine, and that's going to pass in 45 days.
Oh, absolutely. You know,
I don't even know what I'm doing.
we haven't lost one soldier in the Ukraine. We spent less than 5% of our military budget. 50% of the Russian army's been destroyed by the Ukrainians. They would be in Crimea already if the administration had been so slow in giving weapons.
Might as well throw down a lost and found. What's the harm? What if I lose my moon pendant? That would suck. I lost my battery pack. Alright, that's not so bad. I got a wrench, gear wrench, and a hall pass. I already have a hall pass. I have two. Do I have two hall passes?
A sexual interest in Vladimir Putin, which transcends above all of the interests of American foreign policy.
I already had a hall pass.
I just think it seems so obvious that sending Kamala Harris to the NATO Security Conference to say you're going to join NATO is what triggered the invasion days later. Okay, so can I get this? Will take a few minutes to lay out. Yes, it's complicated, but I think the facts matter. I think two things caused the war in Ukraine. Number one,
Alright, we're gonna
disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan.
there's nothing to do anymore.
Biden's incredible weakness in following through on Trump's Afghanistan withdrawal policy. And then also simultaneously, I agree with him in defense of Ukraine until now, because now Donald Trump doesn't agree with that. So now I have to act like I wasn't cheering it on while simultaneously trying to find ways.
Okay, we got more junk. We got a coupon book.
Afghanistan. I believe we need to leave
We got a
Afghanistan.
magnifying glass. We got a lever. Gem.
Being murdered by terrorists there.
Box of junk.
That was disastrous. I think our enemies looked
Car
to the commander in
keys.
chief and said, this president is weak. And when that withdrawal was so disastrous, I said publicly at the time, the chances of Putin invading Ukraine have just
Oh,
risen
what a
tenfold, right?
dismal failure.
Secondly, and this is critically, I agree, that was often the withdrawal. And it was a major cause of our enemies all said, hey, this president is weak. And so it was Biden as bad as everyone says? No, he's worse. Because they never criticize him for the appropriate shit. They criticize him for the one good thing he did in his goddamn administration in terms of foreign policy, which is the
Should have two hall passes. Two.
enough, it wasn't even his own personal policy.
Alright, anyway, it's over.
Continuation of the Trump plan. And everybody
This is where we save and quit.
That's the one thing, as far as his foreign policy decisions, that I unconditionally, 10 toes down, defended. Every other aspect of his foreign policy has been a disaster. Whether it be refusing to try and immediately pack up.
I lost my metal detector.
To the best of his goddamn ability. Or even if it was going to work.
I lost my chronograph. Oh! Not my chronograph.
Not even doing the warmongering.
I lost my magnifying glass.
Saber rattling against Vladimir Putin.
I lost my sledgehammer.
Bringing in Finland and Sweden into NATO is somehow going to be a big prize for him. Continuing along with Trump's demands that European countries offer more of a higher percentage of their GDP for NATO, which when Trump did it,
I lost my secret garden key. Oh wait, I need to stop. What if I lose? Because what if I lose the moon pendant? That'll be really bad. All right, let's call it a day. Call it. Yes, it's over.
An unimaginable singular legacy tarnishing act. I mean, his legacy, obviously, but like, I think Biden will be forever.
All right, that's it. We're done. Exit. Save and quit. We're done. We're done. We're done with that one.
It still sucks how we executed. No, let's just go. No, we didn't. Remember,
I don't agree about the genocide Joe thing. Although there's some there's some truth to it, but
67 soldiers died in Afghanistan.
I don't know.
Trump was overseeing.
I mean, the Democrats are monsters, but they're definitely a better alternative than Trump or the Republicans generally. Anyway, that's all, folks. Please like,